Hi everyone! Just want to say welcome to my edition of Music and Magic. I think this is such a nice way of connecting with everybody during such a difficult time. And just before we start getting into the questions that you send in, I just want to wish you all well and hope that you're all doing okay during such a strange time. Hopefully things will get better soon, and isn't this such a nice way to keep us all uplifted? So you know the drill. There've been two before this. Megan's done hers and Tara's done hers. So you all had to send in a question and 15 have been selected, and out of those 15 I will choose one winner, and that winner will get a signed copy of our brand new calendar, which I had a little peek at, and it's really amazing. I love it. I'm a bit jealous actually. I want one. But come on, let's just get right into it. I've absolutely loved reading all these questions, and it's made me feel so close to you all, so that's really nice. So the first question is from Chloe Meadow Knoll. I hope it's Knoll and not Noel. I think it's Knoll. What's the most challenging Celtic Woman song you've ever had to learn? I think for me the most challenging song in Celtic Woman to learn was probably Orinoco Flow, the very first one that I did. Just because it was so intricate and there were loads of different segments, and knowing which segment was coming next, that was the hardest bit of all. And also the intonation, you know, making sure that everything was exact, because that's such an intricate song, and if you're a bit off, it's pretty noticeable. So number 2, you're very talented. Thank you. Are your parents and siblings also musically inclined? And that's from Mike McCloughery. It's a very Irish name. Yeah, so my dad was a bass player in an old, I always say old Irish show band, just in an Irish show band. And he got to travel the world, tour the world. He supported Roy Orbison. He supported The Who. Just, you know, not when they were massive, but just before they got big. And like all his friends were all musicians. So I grew up literally with, you know, his friend Damien and his friend Pat, and we would all just have, you know, big musical sessions on a Friday night where we would all just sing and drink tea, and it was so nice. My sister was also a fiddle player. She doesn't really play anymore. She studied it at Goldsmiths University. For anybody that knows, it's like a really amazing university for music, for contemporary music. And she just decided that it wasn't for her, and now she writes vegan cookbooks. So still very arty. Celtic Woman has touched the lives of so many people over the years. In what ways has it changed yours? And are there any touching stories from fans that that have stayed with you? And that's from Megan Boyer. Well, yeah, I mean, Celtic Woman has had such an impact all across the world, and that still amazes us today. You know, how incredible that this little group from Ireland, you know, can affect people's lives all over the world and make them feel uplifted and joyous when, you know, their lives may not be pointing in that direction. And that still amazes me every single day. I feel so blessed that that's what we get to do. You know, we get to bring happiness and some sort of peace to people during quite difficult times. You know, a lot of the, you know, correspondence that we would have from fans are people that are maybe going through treatment for cancer or have just lost someone that they love, and they reach out to us because, you know, they felt connected to one of our songs. Mostly it would be You Raise Me Up. I think that would be, you know, one of the main songs that people say really helps them. Amazing Grace too, and Danny Boy. We always say they're our core songs. We would never do a show without them. But there's one story in particular that, you know, stands out whenever I think of this, and it was a man who was in a wheelchair, and he had fought in the war, and he said he played Celtic Woman's music in his darkest days, and that was the only reason that he ended up getting through what, you know, was going on. So yeah, that really touched all of us and has stayed with us for, you know, will stay with us forever. If you could be any animal for a day, what would you be and why? And that's from Jessie Lee. I love this question. You know, my husband and I always say that we're like otters because otters hold hands whenever they swim. So I would say that I would be an otter for the day. What techniques can you recommend to hit those high notes, like the third in Danny Boy? Very technical. And that's from Daniel Uland. Well, I always say that, you know, singing is a choice, and our voice is a toolbox. We use it in whichever way we please. I don't want to get too technical, but, you know, you can sing with the low larynx, you can sing with the high larynx. So low larynx would be much more towards the operatic style of singing. High larynx, I prefer the sound of it because I think it's sweeter, and I always say that, you know, we have so much sweetness at the side of our teeth. So instead of, you know, rounding off those vowels, if we just, you know, open up that smile and sing, it actually connects with people so much more, and you'd be surprised how much those high notes actually ping out. So yeah, it's just a little tip. We've got loads of power here. How did you feel when you first found out you were joining Celtic Woman? And that's Morgan of Minnesota. Well, I was overjoyed. I mean, I had always been a massive fan. I love their music, still love their music. Pinch myself every day that this is what I get to do. So needless to say, I was, you know, completely overwhelmed and just couldn't believe that it was happening to me. I had been teaching singing in a theatre school because I'd had a record label. I was signed to like a major record label, and that didn't work out. So I kind of was working as a vocal coach at a theatre school, and my students were doing so well. Like I had one little girl, and she went on to be little Cosette in Les Mis in the West End, and I had another girl who was in Matilda in the West End. So after that experience with the record label and things not quite going right and finding myself, you know, teaching, seeing the happiness that, you know, those kids had for music and the love, just the sheer passion that they had gave it back to me. And then out of nowhere, Celtic Woman came along. So I was on a bit of a journey before I joined Celtic Woman, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. This one's funny. Do you speak Irish? Did you learn it growing up or in school, or is it something you had to learn when you joined Celtic Woman? And that's from Michael McKellen. Well, Michael, no, I did not learn Irish growing up, and to this day I wish I did. You know, I grew up singing it, like, so I sung it from I was 3, 4, because that's when I had my first singing lesson. But no, I didn't learn the language, and you know, I rely so much on other people that are fluent speakers like Éabha McMahon and Mairead Carlin to help me. You know, I would learn things phonetically quite often. I would never sing a song unless I knew the full translation, and I really try my hardest to you know, get the Irish as best I can, but it's still a work in progress. Yep. If you could only give a singer one vocal advice, what would it be and why? And that's from Celia. Hello, Celia. I would say just be yourself. Don't try to be like anybody else. Everybody else is already taken. I know that's already a quote. But, you know, there's no one else like you out there. You have your own unique voice, your own unique way, and nobody wants a copycat. It's really boring. To be honest, a lot of the time when I turn on the radio now, I just hear, they're all different singers, but to me they sound like the same singer, and it's because there's just a style. But isn't it amazing when you turn on the radio and you hear something and you're like, oh my goodness, who is that, or what is that? So I would always just say, stay true to who you are and sing with honesty and believe every single word that you sing. Don't throw anything away. Yeah, that's it really. If given the opportunity, would you want to perform on Broadway? And if so, what is your dream role? And that's from Mary Catherine Hunt. I actually gave Mary Catherine a singing lesson last week. Well, hello, Mary Catherine. Yeah, I mean, well, not a lot of people know this, but before I joined Celtic Woman, I actually had a big West End agent. He was one of the main guys. And I was up for loads of different roles. So I was in the final 3 for Eponine in Les Mis. The final 3 for Sophie and Mamma Mia. I was up for an Andrew Lloyd Webber musical called Stephen Ward, which didn't end. I did go and see it, but I don't think it lasted very long on the West End. But I was kind of going down that path. And then I got Celtic Woman and I just felt like all my stars aligned. But I would love to perform Mary Poppins. That would be a dream role for me. But in terms of Broadway, Celtic Woman have already performed on Broadway. I performed on Radio City quite a few times. I did it once, but the group have done it many, many times and it was pretty epic. I am wondering about the chorus of your song Tír na nÓg. What does the text mean in English? And that's from Lars, let me see if I get this right, Stoystrom. Is that right? I don't know. Yeah, probably all wrong, but sure, look, everybody gets my name wrong anyway all the time. You'll have to ask Una about this because Una wrote this song and it's lots of different elements all put together, so you'll have to ask her for that. What is the best practical joke that has been played on tour by someone in Celtic Woman? And that's from Kurt Klassen. Well, I will tell you. Sometimes jokes go down well and sometimes jokes don't go down well. Still doesn't, like, I still think they're funny, even if they don't go down well, but sometimes we do get in trouble. But my daredevil husband dressed up as a dinosaur once in a full dinosaur costume, spurred on by Aunt O'Byrne, the piper, and the two of them were just absolutely bonkers when they got together. And during sound check one day, Ronan came out in front of everybody on the stage in this dinosaur costume and was conducting everybody. And of course, the whole cast and crew just broke down laughing. The whole sound check, you know, just fell apart, and he got in trouble after. But it was really funny. Oh, I like this one. Since you're such a big fan of Stephen Sondheim, yes, I am. What are some of your favourite songs of his and why? So that's from Taylor Hudson. It's really hard to choose with Sondheim because I literally love all his music. I mean, I love everything from A Little Night Music. I think it's so amazing. A Glamorous Life, later, what else I love? Into the Woods, you know, you've got Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella. God, there's so many to pick, isn't there? Send in the Clowns, I know that's a classic. Not a Day Goes By, Giants in the Sky, like there's so many, all of them, every single one. Do you have a favourite Irish fairy tale, myth or legend? If so, why is it your favourite? And that's from Matthew Plaisance. So that's a lovely name. I mean, Ireland's full of myths and legends, isn't it? That's one of the amazing things about our homeland, and I love that there's castles everywhere, and you know, it's just so deep rooted in our history. But I love that in Ireland there's loads of fairy trails everywhere. So you could just be out on a random walk somewhere up a hill or up a mountain and you'll just come across this little fairy trail, and that's where the fairies live. So that's one of my favourite things. What is the coldest temperature that you had to perform in? And that's from John Allen S. Oh, I remember there was one time, I think we were performing in Portland, Maine, maybe. I think that's where it was. And it was freezing, like it was an outdoor gig. We don't do that many outdoor gigs, you know. We might have to now after COVID. But this was particularly cold. I think it was Portland, Maine. Do you know why? Because I think we had lobster rolls after. Sorry, I know the things you remember. But it was so cold, and I just remember the audience were like wrapped up in these blankets, like layers and layers and layers of blankets, and there we were, like in shoulders bare in our ball gowns, trying to like keep, you know, our tone straight, because it's really hard to sing whenever it's cold. But it was really funny because at the end we all came out in our bathrobes. Our producer at the time, Maggie, allowed us to do our curtain call in our bathrobes, and you know, the whole place erupted laughing, and they just really appreciated it because it showed the kind of human side to us. So yeah, and then another one that was freezing was the filming of Ancient Land. Oh my goodness, I mean, you could literally see the breath coming from our mouths, like it was that cold, and we kept having to like wipe the stage because it was getting slippy, because the dew, not what you say in the States, the dew was falling and settling on the stage, and the dancers couldn't dance because they kept slipping. Yeah, but I think it looked amazing because of that. Like you could see that it was so icy and so cold, and there was just an energy about the whole night. It was pretty amazing. And I have one more question. I don't know how we've got through these so quick. What advice do you have for overcoming performance anxiety? I play the clarinet and sometimes struggle with this. That's from Madeline MacArthur. Hope it's Madeline and not Madeline. If it's Madeline, I'm sorry. For me, I always, this is so random, and you know, it works for me, it might not work for everybody, but thinking of, you know, calming scents, so thinking of lavender, thinking of clary sage, or even, you know, orange, like citrus, like, you know, uplifting kind of scents. Just imagining that, you know, closing your eyes and just taking yourself away, regulating your breathing, thinking of those scents. And another thing that really works for me is, again, it's all imagery, it's all imagining, but thinking that your feet are firmly on the ground, you're barefoot and you're not wearing any shoes. And I think it's because I love yoga, and that feeling of being close to the earth just grounds you and centers you, and just helps to calm those nerves. So yeah, my goodness, that's everything. That's all of the questions, guys. I cannot believe it. Thank you so much for sending them in. I literally have had the best time. I have to choose one now, so I'm gonna go through them and find my winner. Let me see. Who's it gonna be? I think I know which one it's gonna be. It's, do you have a favourite Irish fairy tale, myth or legend? And if so, why is it your favourite? Matthew Plaisance, you are the winner. I will send you that signed piece of memorabilia, and that will find its way in the post to you. So congratulations. Thanks so much, everyone. And look, like I said at the start of this video, I just hope you're keeping safe and well, and we're getting through this time together. What an amazing thing to be able to reach out to, you know, everybody through this, you know, music and magic. And I just want to send you all my love, thinking about you all, and we'll be together again soon. So lots of love from me. Slán Bhile. Bye, guys.